Two main reasons why there are a lot of single women today who at the same time strongly want a relationship. Nowadays, the topic of loneliness is on the ear, and recently I have read a lot of materials on this topic. Some are dedicated to common loneliness, that is, the absence of friends, normal relationships with colleagues, or even their own loneliness. There is no unity with themselves, while others are more highly specialized and analyze loneliness precisely within the framework of relationships. That's just when reading such materials, I noticed one important nuance. These materials mix male loneliness and female loneliness into a pile, putting a big equal sign between them. In fact, there is nothing in common between them. Male loneliness is forced. You have a lot of responsibilities, give gifts, court, entertain, achieve, but women don't owe you anything in return. Lucky? Great, the woman will give you a chance. No? You will be gently dismissed with the phrase, "I'm sorry, I feel very good with you, but I see you exclusively as a friend, nothing more." If you don't have money, charisma or other catchy qualities, then the chance to find a woman tends to a couple of %, if not zero. All relationships are built in a vicious circle. You take care of a woman, you get rejected, you get disappointed, you move away from rejection, you try again. Someone has enough perseverance, someone is just lucky, and someone remains lonely. Female loneliness is completely different. In fact, they do not have loneliness as such, because there is always a man nearby who is interested in communicating to one degree or another. Colleague. Friend. Familiar. A fan in an online game. A random boyfriend on a website with ads. Best friend. A guy who has been persistently courting for 3 years. Any woman inevitably gets attention to one degree or another, so she always has an option for a relationship. However, on a women's forum or on a social network, you can find such arguments. I'm 32 years old. I'm tired of being alone. For 3 whole years I have been without a relationship. How can I find my man, the best and only one? So what's the matter? The author is wrong again, and female loneliness exists. In this article, I will introduce you to 2 reasons why so many are single today, but at the same time they really want a relationship. Reason 1, such women need not just love, but profitable relationships. If you know at least a little about the Middle Ages, you have heard that dynastic marriages were common there. This is a marriage not for love, but solely for calculation, where the 2 dynasties strengthened both themselves and their relations with each other. No matter how much the princess loved the simple son of a blacksmith, the princess's father would never give permission for such an alliance. He basically found his daughter's fiancé before she was born, and of course no one asks the girl's opinion. It's funny that these days we've got a situation that's turned 180 degrees. Now women are already selecting men for themselves in terms of benefits. If there are rose-colored glasses, they break by the age of 25 or even 20. A woman evaluates a man through a dozen parameters. Appearance. Personality. How much he earns. Does he have prospects? Whether the apartment is bought, whether there is a car, and so on. If all this is there, fine, a worthy groom and a profitable match. If the man in general is quite ordinary, I'm sorry, I'd rather look for another one. But here's the problem, there are simply not enough wealthy princes for all women. And if someone is lucky enough to snatch such a treasure, then a dozen other women are sitting alone and sincerely believe that in a year they will definitely be lucky. Reason 2, there aren't many comfortable men today. Or rather not so. There are enough comfortable men, but there are much fewer of them than there were years earlier. When I was young and didn't understand anything about relationship psychology, I was insanely proud when my girlfriend called me a real man. I still remember that moment. At that moment I felt like the king of the world, the man who conquered the highest peak. The beloved woman considers you a model of masculinity, isn't that happiness? Alas, it was only over the years that I realized a simple truth. A real man, from a woman's mouth, is a sign that you are a comfortable man. In general, a real man is one of the most effective and common manipulations. The problem here is that women call only those men who are convenient to them real, and there is no subjective assessment here. See for yourself. For one, a real man is a man who, during a divorce, left all his possessions to his ex and went to live almost on the street. But for another, this man will be a loser who left all the property to a woman who brought a new boyfriend to the apartment the very next day. There are two opposite views on the same situation, and if so, then there is no objective assessment. Consequently, the very concept of a real man is devoid of any meaning. What I'm getting at? Women have been using the concept of a real man for years as an effective tool of manipulation, but the problem is that his strength is slowly weakening. Some men have already gone through a couple of divorces, where most of their property was taken away from them. The latter have seen enough of the experience of friends and acquaintances. Still others absorbed materials like mine, which allowed them to rebuild the usual patterns of thinking. As a result, today there are fewer submissive and comfortable men who are ready to do everything and even more for a woman. Again, simple math, there are no fewer women themselves, and therefore, someone will be left without a comfortable man, and you will either have to settle for a less suitable option, or stay alone. Many women choose the second option. Thanks for your attention. If you have something to add, then write your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I will be glad to see everyone.